give you a gift because I see your connection to this training. I'm going to give you a gift. So if you are Shola, send me a message on my phone number and introduce yourself to me, and then you have a gift with me. So Shola, I don't know whether it's someone I know or I do not know, but if you are Shola, I've just understanding of wealth. So when you have that wrong understanding, you'll be chasing what you shouldn't be chasing. You'll be chasing after things you shouldn't be chasing after. And so you will discover that rather than becoming wealthy, you become poorer. When you chase things that are not the right things to chase, you will become poorer as you continue chasing the wrong understanding of what you think is called wealth. And that's why we are going to be in these sessions giving us the right understanding of wealth, the right understanding of wealth. So as I begin this journey again, now, wealth is realizing that you have the capacity to turn anything that is intangible to tangible things. Understanding, Shola, I don't know who you are. What you don't have or what you didn't have. If you can hear me well, please type a 1 for me in the chat box.
Sorry, I didn't realize on time that the video I was playing did not come out with sound. That was the video of one of our the last trainings about 3 weeks ago. So you are all welcome to this call this afternoon. Please, all the co-hosts on this program, help me by admitting the people in the chat, in the waiting room. Please don't let any one of them hang there. It's a distraction to me. You are welcome. If you are hearing me very loudly, and you are excited to be part of this training, please give me a 2 in the chat box. Give me a 2 in the chat box. You are excited to be here. That's why many of us came on time. Many of us came very early. Agama came very early. Edu came very early. Epo Edu, you are welcome. So it's going to be another wonderful session today. Don't forget, we are building a community of wealthy people, and that is our vision. That's our vision. So if you want to be one of those members of that community, I believe that's the reason you are here this afternoon. And we have said several things before now. For those of us that have never been part of this, we have said several things at the beginning that in the next 5 years, there's going to be a redefinition of wealth. There's going to be a redefinition of wealth. We are going to be having 2 categories of the wealthy people. We are going to have the traditionally wealthy, and we are going to be having the digitally wealthy. The digital wealth is the new class of wealth that is going to spoil the space of wealth. I mean, it's going to create some new wealthy people like me and you who had no previous background of wealth. And that's why it's important that you follow through this and learn. And we said this financial mentoring with Pastor Yemi is a system that is about to. We said that our vision is to raise a community of the wealthy by helping in building wealth from scratch through the understanding of the mindset of the wealthy, and finding what works for every member of the community, developing proven processes and identifying platforms that the wealthy take advantage of to grow into wealth. And our vision is to be a community of wealthy people with a wealthy mindset and generating massive wealth. Our mission is to use the instrumentality of redefinitions to reposition everyone in the community into the class of the wealthy. I hope you got me. Our value is going to include discipline, learning, modesty, integrity, and commitment. So I want to welcome everyone that have shown commitment to this course and have been here for the past, I think this is the 6th edition now. I want to congratulate you because you are already on the journey to becoming wealthy. If you let me just do a run through of what we have done in the past few weeks. Don't forget that we said that our mission, don't forget, our mission is to use the instrumentality of redefinitions. Instrumentality of redefinitions. So we have been redefining some definitions that we used to know what it meant to us. So we have been redefining them. And that's why it's important that you don't miss any one of these training. We said that you need a mentor. A day with a mentor can put you a decade ahead of your mates. A day with a mentor can put you a decade ahead of your mate. And we said the fastest way to change yourself is to hang out with people who are already the way you want to be. The fastest way to become who you want to be is to hang out with people who are already the way you want to be. Let me share my screen so that you can, as I run through what we have done in the last 6 weeks, you can just take a recap of what we have done. And don't forget that we also said that financial mentoring with Pastor Yemi is not product specific, it's not religious, not ethnic, it is free but costly. We said what you need is to get a jotter for this program, specifically for this program. Ensure that your devices are charged always. and ensure you have data. And I promise to everyone on this in this group that if that data will be provided for you. Avoid distraction anytime. This is just a 1 hour program. Avoid distraction. Make sure you are concentrated. Let your mind be open. If your mind is not open, there is nothing you hear that will work for you. And I've said also that many times in life, we said being rich is not the same as being wealthy. You can be rich and not wealthy. How can you be rich? One of the ways that you can be rich is to have a job that is paying you well. So if you are earning £1 million per month, you are rich, but you are not wealthy. You can through corruption become rich, but corruption can never make a man wealthy. You can through borrowing. You can go and borrow from the bank and become wealthy, but and become rich, but it cannot make you via wealth creation processes. You can only be wealthy via wealth creation process, which is what this platform is designed to show you. People that are wealthy, I said, people that are wealthy create it. People that are wealthy create it. So you must understand how to create wealth. And so some weeks ago, we talked about the kind of results you will get in life is dependent on your willingness to learn, multiplied by your willingness to change or to act. Your willingness to learn, multiplied by your willingness to change or to act. And we said that result index, if it's to be measured over 100%, willingness to learn is 1 to 10, 1 being the least and 10 being the highest. Willingness to act or change is also rated from 1 to 10, 1 being the least and 10 being the highest. So if your willingness to learn is 10 and you're 10 over 10, and your willingness to act on those things that you have learned is 0, then your result will be 10 times 0, which will be 0. You can learn all that you want to learn in life as long as you are not changing or acting on them. Your result will always be 0. So if you have a willingness to learn, I will learn 5 over 10, and I will act on them. Everything I learn, I will act. That means that your willingness to learn is 5, to change is 10, and you have 50% as a result in life. But if you have a mindset, I'm coming to learn, every Saturday I'm going to be here to learn, and I'm going to, everything I learn, I'm going to put it to use. Somebody was telling me in the course of the week, he's one of my big bosses, and you know, he's a chartered accountant, he has all that he needed, but he has been committed to this program. And he said, I missed the first series, and I went to watch it on the YouTube, and I discovered, in fact, since Monday that I watched it, it's been driving me. Why? Willingness to learn 10, willingness to change 10, result is 100%. And then we look at the 8 habits of highly productive people. Then we look at paradigm shift. This was about 3 weeks ago. There are 7 shifts you need to change to have in life. You need to have 7 levels of paradigm shift. Rewire your brain for success. Face your dark side and escape negative pattern and behaviors. Have the be and do anything. That means I can become anything, I can do anything that I want in life. Then we said, be the architect of your life, and then put it into a daily and a monthly routine. And then we said, make your wish your command. Then overcome fear, anxiety, and self-doubt. Then the 7th one is master your mindset. We talked extensively about mastering your mindset. Understand the things that trigger the wrong things in your mind and begin to master it yourself. Then before now, don't forget that our mission is to create words using the instrumentality of the definition, which means that there are some definitions that have stuck to our brain in the time past, but we need to change those definitions. Before now, vision, it used to be the picture of your future. But by this journey that we are moving on, you must know that that definition represents dream. That's why most time it's very difficult for us to define dream and vision. So many times when you define dream, it's in your mind is the same definition of vision. Many times when you define vision, it's looking like dream. So what is the definition of dream? Dream is the picture of your future. What you see concerning your future is your dream. It's not your vision. So we are redefining vision. Don't get it confused. You will still listen to lecturers or speakers who are saying vision is the picture of your future. Your pastor and your imam may tell you vision is the picture of your future. It's fine. But let me tell you, that can only take you to now. It cannot take you to the future. Vision for today as it's being redefined under this dispensation, is who you are now. Don't forget the now is very important. Who you are now by the reason of what you can see. Now, we said that a dream that does not translate to your action now is not a vision. So you can have a dream as long as it does not translate to your now. It's a dream. It remains a dream. A dream that you act on is a vision. A dream that you act on is a vision. So if you see the picture of your future, you are a dreamer. You are not a visionary. A visionary is someone who sees the future and begins to act now. So vision is who you are now by the reason of what you see. Don't forget one of the things, one of our practice on this forum is that everything I'm saying, as it's hitting your mindset, as it's hitting your body, as it's hitting your bones, you'll be typing it in the chat box. You'll be typing it in the chat box. So don't forget, that's what we do here. Everything I say that hits you, don't mind what hits me may not hit you. So, but that's not important. But whatever I say that touches you, that hits some part of your mind, that triggers a change, just type it in the chat box. Vision is not what you see of your future. That is dream. What is the difference between a dream and a future? If vision is what you see about your future, now what is a dream? A dream is what you see about your future. It's what sometimes God even reveals to you. Sometimes it's just overeating that reveals the future to you. Now that's a dream. But until you act a dream, you are a dreamer. Until you act a dream, you remain a dreamer. But the moment you begin to act your dream, you become a visionary, not a dreamer. So vision is who you are now by the reason of what you see. Let's move on. Why do I need a mentor? You need a mentor who believes in you, who will also in turn make you to arrive at a desired destination. The job of a mentor is to stand in between what you can see in yourself and what they see in you. What you see yourself and what they see in you. Thank you, Moses. A dream that you act on is a vision. Thank you. Yeah, we said that we need to develop a big mind. Let's move on because we have so much to cover today. Put your mind on your mind. This was last week. We said put your mind on. Give attention to your mind. If you want to be wealthy, give attention to your mind. And there's a saying in the world that says, imagination rules the world. We are redefining that. Imagination doesn't rule the world anymore. Or the future is no more going to be ruled by imagination. What and who is going to rule the world? Creative imagination is what will begin to rule the world. Whatever you imagine to be true about yourself will determine how you act, feel, and react. Which means if imagination is what rules the world, then you begin to rule the world even when you are imagining bad evil. No, or you are imagining little. Your mind is little. You can't rule the world with a little mind. So it is no more imagination that rules the world. It is creative imagination that rules the world. If you have had that and you enjoy it, just put it there. In creative imagination rules the world. You can see creative imagination rules the world. Thank you. Before you experience success on the outside, it starts from the within. If your mind is wealthy, your actions will be geared towards being wealthy, and you will surely see yourself that you are actualizing it. Then we said, hypnotize yourself from false belief. Hypnotize yourself from false belief. Vision is who you are today by the reason of what you see. We now redefine inheritance. Inheritance used to be the transfer of properties, but today we are redefining inheritance. Inheritance is the transfer of knowledge and the discipline that created them. And any knowledge you learn, any knowledge you take, without the discipline that created them, you cannot inherit it. Do you get what I'm saying? Any knowledge you take, without getting the discipline that created it, you cannot go anywhere with it. That is why when somebody teaches you to be disciplined, don't just take discipline is a good thing. Discipline will move me forward. No. What is the discipline that creates that discipline? Then you have to understand it. Vision is who you are now by the reason of what you see. Now we are moving on. We said today we are looking at credit. One of the things that the wealthy have used to create massive wealth is called credit. Somebody type credit for me in the chat box. It's called credit. If you are hearing me, type credit. And I said that one of what we are going to look at today is how to improve your credit rating. Is how to improve your credit rating. Let me tell you, anytime you have an opportunity with you, the volume of money that is available to you at that time is going to determine how much how the size of that opportunity that you can take advantage of. For example, if you see an opportunity that is as big as a mansion, but the capital you have is just for a room, then you can only take a room. If you see an opportunity to have an estate, but the capital you have is just as little as that one that can give you a toilet-sized room, then what you have is a toilet-sized room. And that's why one of the things that the wealthy have used to improve and move into the status of wealth is called credit. And so it's important that you must understand how to improve your credit rating. So today we are going to be defining credit. I know many of us will define credit in the way it used to be, but don't forget that our mission, and we always return back to this thing, is to create wealth through the instrumentality of redefinition. Until the old definition in your mind changes, you will continue to live in the past. You continue to. So we said our vision is to what? Is to use the instrumentality of redefinition to achieve, to tailor our mind to achieving wealth. Credit is generally defined as a contractual agreement in which a borrower receives something of value now. A borrower receives something of value now and agrees to repay the lender at a later date, generally with interest. That used to be the definition of credit. Let's look at another definition of credit. Credit is the ability to borrow. When you look at these two definitions, it's talking about borrow, 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 borrow. So that is the old definition of credit. There is always a borrower and a lender in borrowing. And that is why I agree with that great book, which is called the Bible, that says that you should not borrow, because credit is different from borrowing. And I'm going to show it to you. So when you look at it here again, credit is the ability to borrow money or access goods or services with the understanding that you will pay later. Sorry, that is later. Now, what is the definition, the true today's definition of credit? Credit is a trust. I want to type it in the chat box. Credit is not a borrowing. Credit is it's a trust. So if you understand that, put it in the chat box. Credit is a trust which allows one party to provide money or resources to another party, so that the second party does not reimburse the first party immediately, but promises either to repay or return those resources at a later date. Do you get that definition? Credit, and the word in this definition is that credit is a trust. If you look at the old definition of profit, of credit, say credit is an agreement in which a borrower and lender. Now, another definition saying credit is the ability to borrow. These are the old definition. Trust. Credit is trust. So the new definition of credit under this platform and on the journey to creating wealth. And this is how a wealthy man looks at credit. A wealthy man does not think he's going to borrow money, because the moment you borrow money, you become a slave to the lender. You become a slave to the lender. And even the Bible says it that way. I don't know if the Quran talks about that, but the moment you borrow money, you become a slave to the lender. Any moment you see anytime you see the lender comes to knock your door, your heart panics. That is because it is borrowing. Now, credit, as the wealthy people sees it, is a trust which allows one party to provide, not to give, not to borrow, not to lend. Is only providing money or resources to another party, and the second party does not reimburse. Can you see borrow or lend from this definition? Definitely no. So the wealthy does not see credit as borrowing or lending. He sees it as a providing and a reimbursing. So credit is a trust, which allows one party to provide money or resources to another party, while the second party does not reimburse the first party immediately. But promise, can you see, it's a promise, either to repay or return those resources at a later date. Are you getting something? If you are catching the fire of this redefinition, I want you to say fire in the chat box. Just type fire in the chat box. If you are catching it and you think it's making sense, just type fire in the chat box, because there's a fire of redefinition that is going to envelop you such that from today. I remember some times ago where I used to work, there was an opportunity to take housing loan. And a colleague of mine, a former colleague of mine, we were together and I'd applied for the loan. But he said, I don't need a loan, I already have a house. And I looked at him, I said, like, seriously? You don't need a loan. You don't need a credit facility to have a house because you already have a house. I now asked him, I said, what if you have a second house? What if you have a third? I said, I don't like taking a loan. I said, you see how a poor man thinks. That is how generally poor people think, because he sees it as he's in debt. I'm not in debt. I've given something. What did I give? What have I given? I gave you trust. You gave me money or resource. I give to you. I'm parting with something. Let me tell you, a wealthy man does not take money thinking that you are doing him a favor. When a wealthy man is taking money from you, he sees it as he's giving you something, he's giving you trust. You are giving him money or resources. So if a wealthy man wants you to come and build a house, you are a building company and you want to build a house for him, but he will pay you at a later date. He's giving you a trust, and you are building the house. That's the resource, and the promise is to reimburse you later. Let me tell you, to a wealthy man, a promise is more than the money. If you get that, type it in the chat box. To a wealthy man, to a wealthy mind, his promise is worthier than the money you are giving to him. Credit is an exchange of trust with resources of money. Yes. So a wealthy man says is providing trust and a promise. A wealthy man is even more afraid of giving his promise than taking the money. So like I told you about the story, I had to reshape the mind of that my former colleague, making him understand that he's giving something to get something. It's not just taking money, he's giving something to get something. And that thing is getting, which was money, will help him to advance his wealth influence and also advance his credit status. Then after a lot of conviction and persuasion, he understood my concept and he went to take the loan. Today, I believe it's much better for him. So I said, and I want to type it in chat box, to a wealthy man, his promise is more valuable than the money you are giving him. Nobody's typing. Are you not hearing me? If you are hearing me, I said to a wealthy man, his promise, his words, his promise, and the trust he's providing is much more important than the money he's taking. That's why when you see wealthy people, they depend largely on credit more than what they can provide to facilitate their project, because they know that they are giving a promise, and their promise is a bond. A wealthy man sees his promise as a bond and sees it as much more valuable than the money he's collecting from you. I'm not getting activity in the chat box this afternoon. I believe, I hope you are getting me. Is Shola not here again? Okay. So to a wealthy man, his promise is much more valuable than the money he's receiving. The trust is providing in replacement of the money is much more valuable to him than the money he's taking from you. And I believe you understand it from today. So that when you are about to have a credit, you will understand it from that point of view. Because in the definition of credit, there is no more anything like borrow or lend. Credit is not borrowing. Nobody's borrowing anybody anything. Nobody's lending anybody anything. In credit is a trust. And what you are doing is I'm giving you a trust and a promise, and you are giving me money, and I'm going to reimburse you. So that is the way it is saying. Now, let's talk about our credit score, which is where we are going. What is a credit score? Credit score is a number. Depending on what country, credit score, some countries are 1 to 10, some are 1 to 100, some are 350 to, different countries and different environment, financial environment, define their credit score range. So, but I'm going to use the credit score of between 1 and 10, and I think this is applicable to Nigeria. So, credit score is a number between 1 and 10, depending on the country, that depicts a customer's credit worthiness. Credit score depicts your credit worthiness. How much do people, or do someone who has the money or the resource, how much does it value your promise and your trust is what determines your credit number. It is a numerical expression based on an analysis of the credit worthiness of an individual. Are you getting it? It's a numerical expression based on an analysis of the credit worthiness of an individual. Who is doing the analysis? The one that wants to part with his money or his resources. It is designed to represent the likelihood that you will pay your bills on time. It represents the likelihood that you will pay your bills on time. And I said there are many different credit scores. There are many different credit scores and scoring models. The higher the score, the better a borrower looks to potential lenders. So the higher the score, the better the one that has the money sees you as he gives you money. Now let's take a case study. We're going to take a case study, and I want you to pay very firm and good attention. In May 2008, Dangote Group wanted to take a facility to be able to finance a cement factory. Dangote was going to finance, wanted to build, let me put it in simple English, wanted to build a cement factory. Probably had nothing, or probably had something little, maybe had the land and all of that, had bought the land, the vast land, but no money to build it. But he went to approach a bank, listen, one bank, asking them to give him $1.27 billion. I hope you are seeing these numbers. $1.27 billion, not billion naira, not $1 million, $1.27 billion. So if you translate it, it's about let's put it 1 to 5, it's about 600 billion naira. 600, almost over $500 billion naira. Over $500 billion naira as a facility, as a credit facility. Now, the bank that he approached saw the massive opportunity in taking the promise of Dangote and parting away with $1.27 billion. But the bank didn't have, and never, there's no way the bank, even if it closed down its asset and liability and everything, cannot even raise the 1.27 billion. So the bank went to 9 other banks and coordinated a credit facility of $1.27 billion. 2008. And with that, the loan repayment was supposed to start in August 2010. In the financial term, that means Dangote Company Group has about 1 year, 2 years moratorium period. It's called moratorium period. You can see somebody is giving you money, and he said, don't bother about paying the next 2 years. From the 3rd year, you can start to pay. That means that somebody's promise is very valuable. Somebody's promise is as much as $1.27 billion. Now, the banks went, Access Bank, AfriBank, which is no more. I think AfriBank has been subsumed in some other bank, PHB, Fidelity Bank, FCMB, First Bank. Big First Bank will not finance it. Guarantee Trust Bank, Stanbic IBTC, UBA, and Zenith Bank. These are one of the biggest banks in Nigeria. They had to come together to be able to give $1.27 billion to Dangote. Let me ask you, before then, do you think that Dangote was worth $1 trillion? The answer is most likely no. Dangote was not worth $1 trillion. So, but his promise was worth $1 billion. His trust was worth $1 billion. Now let's look at it. The third point here saying Dangote Group said when they were repaying this money, more than 2 years back, they repaid the loan ahead of the scheduled plan or the scheduled. Please, who is talking on the platform? Please, if your mic is not muted, please pay attention to it and mute your mic, please. Please, co-host on this platform, please help me to do all of those administrative tasks. Please, co-host, please help me with these tasks. Don't let me have distractions, please. Don't let me have distractions. Okay. Now, Dangote went ahead to pay the loan. I think it was about 2 years before the repayment plan payment. And so now look at what Dangote said here. Dangote Group, look at what they said here. Dangote said, the decision to pay ahead of the scheduled plan is part of our policy to ensure that we are not owing anybody. To ensure that we are not owing anybody. So I reformed that thing because I understand it's a business word. They have just used business terminologies. But what Dangote is saying is that we decided to repay this money ahead of time so that we can improve our credit rating continuously. Now, let's answer this question. Please put the answer in the chat box. The question number 1 is that, did Dangote take loans from the bank after then? In your own, for those of us that at least have information, did Dangote ever, after 2008, did Dangote take loan again from banks? Answer me in the chat box. Yemi, you are dormant here. Please, everyone here, I want to be active. This program is meant to educate us. Ayolide said Dangote never took loan again. Joe said Dangote took loan. Ayopo say a big yes. Chidima say yes. Please, I need more answer. Moses say yes. Ayolide has been the only no now, and maybe it's correct. More answers, please. Let more answers come in. Did Dangote ever again, after 2008, take loan from banks? If you don't know, say I don't know, but I want everybody on this platform to say something. If you don't know, say I don't know, I don't really know, I'm not financially aware. But if you know, just type an answer for everyone to see. Type an answer. Say yes. Who again is answering? Who again is answering? Not sure, but I believe he does. Okay, more answers, more answers. Did Dangote ever take loan again? Somebody is not sure. Somebody say categorically no. Every other person is saying yes, 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 yes. Okay, now let me answer. Now let's go to the second question. Let's go to the second question. The second question is, then why, if the answer is yes, why did he repay the loan when he knew that he still needed money? Why? If your answer is yes, he took loan before the time he was supposed to pay. He had almost 2 years again to reuse the money, to reuse the money, to reuse the money. But he decided to pay. And some weeks after or months after, he still went to take more loans. Why do you think he repaid the money when he still needed money? Somebody say, Dangote PSC has a company policy to liquidate his loan at the end of time, but it does not, because he does not want to be indebted to any bank in Nigeria. That's one. To increase his credit rating at your core, he repaid it to improve his credit rating so he can take bigger loans. Okay, I need more answers. Now the answers have come. Dangote, he repaid it to improve his credit rating. He was building his credit worthiness so that he could get higher loans. I'm reading the chart. He paid the money ahead of time to increase his credit rating. Yemi said, because he values his trust and promise. Thank you. Now, Dangote apparently repaid the loan. So because he wants to improve his credit rating. So that anytime again it approaches any bank, say, give me $10 billion. Kia, they will go and move money. In fact, there was a project that he took a credit facility after then that even Nigerian banks could not facilitate it. They needed to get foreign banks to partner with them to be able to facilitate it. So why will I borrow money from you? I take a credit from you, and I promise to pay you in December. But somehow the money came into my hand in September. I said, actually in September, it's December I promised. Let me use this money again. In the process of trying to reuse the money, something happened. A risk boomerang, and then the money got hooked. What are you going to say in December? Oh, how I wish I had paid in September. I went to another business that did not work out. So when you begin to do such kind of thing, you don't know most times, but from today, I believe you are getting to know that you are destroying your credit rating. You are destroying your credit rating. I told you this story some weeks ago. I traveled to United Kingdom many years ago, 2003. And I saw a very nice phone by the class of phones in those years now. And the price of the phone in Nigeria, in fact, I called Nigeria, I remember it was about 93,000 naira, the price of the phone. But here in UK, when I convert the money, the price that was put on it, it was like 20,000 naira. And so I asked, immediately I tried to buy it. But as soon as I tried to buy it, I will see that they will request for your credit card. I tried to use my own Nigerian card. It was not allowing it. So it needed a proper credit card known in that environment. So I approached someone I know in the UK. I said, please, Geoff, please, can you use your credit card for me to buy this phone? And he said, I will give you the cash, the 20,000 worth of, I'll give it to you. And for me, I was doing him a favor because the 20,000 I'm not even going to, the company did not say I should pay once. I'm going to pay it over 24 months. So I thought I was doing Geoff a favor by giving him the 20,000. He could spend the 20,000 and be paying 20 naira every month for the next 24 months. So for a Nigerian like me, it was a favor I was doing him. He said, no. I said, why? No, I was surprised. Why? He said, in the United Kingdom, your credit status is your life. And I said, so what? He said, the reason the phone is cheap is not because that is the price. It is because the company had factored in that you will pay over the next 24 months, which means you will use the phone at least for 24 months. And in the process of you buying recharge cards, loading call cards on that phone, they will be recouping the difference in the original price of the phone back into their purse. Now, if you take this phone to Nigeria, this company, you are never going to buy their call cards. You are never going to spend use their data facility, which will have paid for. So you are defrauding the system. I looked at him. This is not a government official. It's just a private person running his private business. And he's so much valued his credit card, because one of the things that will likely happen is that I might go free with it. But in their consciousness, what if they discover that a phone that has been sold to be paid over 24 months and disappear from their network? In that environment, they can mark its credit card and bring it, they can mark it with what we call like -1, -2. That's the way it is marked. When you do anything that is against the credit policies of the environment, of the economy system, of the financial system, they mark your credit card -1. So if you're already on number 5, they mark it -1, it becomes 4. So you have dropped in your credit rating. And if you take a credit facility and you pay before the time the maturity, they might mark your credit card with a +1 or +0.05. That's how the credit worthiness is built. So, but in this climb, we don't value our credit facility with our credit status. That is why somebody will take a loan, or even on a personal basis, you say, Mr. Shola, please, can you borrow me 20,000 naira? And he agrees to give you a credit of 20,000 naira. I'll pay by month end. Month end, the person will see you and wave you, Mr. Shola, how are you? He will not even mention it. He will not even talk about it. Next month, he passes by you, oh, Mr. Shola, how are you? See you. You know, if what you do not know is that you are marking, even though it is not done like in the advanced country, it is not done very formally by reducing and increasing your credit number. But in the mind of this person, your promises had become valueless. Your credit, your trust had become valueless. Your word had become valueless. So the next time you go to him, even if you pay 4 months later, the next time you go to him, you can be 90% sure that you see reluctance in wanting to give you, even if you are his brother. Even if you are his brother, you will see the reluctance. And actually, I'm very rich now. When you begin to hear I'm very rich from somebody that you go to borrow, he was not rich. He gave you money 2 months ago, but he's not saying he's very rich every time you go to him. Check your promise. Check your integrity. Then you begin to understand how failed promises affect your credit rating. Like I said, in the advanced world, it happens automatically. There's a system that is running it. And the moment your promise is against your action, it marks you negative. The moment your promise is far more authenticated than even the promise, it marks you with a plus. So thank you very much, Moses. Now, let's not forget, we'll keep coming. So let's not forget, credit is what? Credit is a trust. Credit is a trust, which allows one party to provide money, not to lend money, to provide money or resources. So you are providing, he's providing. That is how the world sees credit. To another party, wherein the other one says, I will reimburse you immediately, but not immediately, but promise to repay or return those resources at a later date. Don't forget this definition. Don't forget this definition. Now, let's look at credit as a trust. Credit as a trust. If you have enjoyed what you have learned, if you are already seeing the reason why your credit status with people, with banks, and any other person is really not very firm, can you just type a 5 in the chat box? That means you have enjoyed me and what you have learned, and you have seen, I need to now understand why people tell me I'm very rich now. Every time you approach them, they say I'm very rich. Give me a 5. Aha. And if you are excited and you want to, you now see reason why, even though people give you money, you want now to be able to approach a bank and the bank will give you money. So from this knowledge, you're already learning something. Credit as a trust. I said credit is a trust, so stop abusing the trust. What did I say? Credit is a trust. Stop abusing the trust. Type it in the chat box. Everyone on this call, please put it in the chat box. Credit is a trust. Stop abusing the trust. I want to see you typing it. I want to see you typing it. Credit is a trust. Stop abusing the trust. You can even say credit is a trust. I will no more abuse the trust. Thank you. Stop abusing the trust. Credit is a trust. Stop abusing the trust. Credit is a trust. Stop abusing the trust. Many of us, let's take a practical example. There are these facilities now that you can borrow money, you can borrow recharge card. You can borrow recharge card from your phone, and then, or you can borrow credit. You can take credit facility for your call cards, and maybe later when you now load money, it will be deducted from it. Many people will borrow call card credit, but they will now abandon that line and be using another line. Somebody many months ago, I used to transfer money to a particular account. Then over time, they started saying, please, don't transfer money to that account, or I will send my wife's account number. The first time he did it, because I'm someone that's always also very careful who I transfer money to. Some people I ended up in jail for transferring money to fraudulent people. So all of these things are important. So when somebody wanted to transfer money to his account, I check the credit status of that person before I do it, because if this person is a proven creditor, you understand, a pathological failed creditor, I will not want, because this person might have committed something, a blunder, and then when they begin to trace it through his account, they will see my transaction, they will say maybe this is one of the people that is feeding him with all this recklessness. So credit is a trust. Stop from the angle of buying recharge card or taking recharge on credit. Don't abuse that. It's a trust. It's a trust. Don't abuse that trust. Number two, like I said, somebody was saying, don't pay money. Then one day I asked him, he said, my account overdraw. And so any money that entered there now, they will first deduct it. So go and make good your promise. Go and make good your promise. You took a loan and now you abandon that account and go into now there is a CBN rule that says that any bank that is owed by any creditor, the bank has the power to check through any other account where the person has account using the BVN and debit the account. You know, in those days, that was what, when I was in the banking system, that was one of the things that brought about CBN having a credit risk management system where every creditor is put into it. And then from time to time, you look at their classification. We used to have 4 classifications of debt of creditors. We used to have active, we used to have active, I've forgotten, active, subactive, doubtful, and bad. Active, subactive, doubtful, and bad. So when your status is doubtful or bad, then you want a system that is so consolidated with BABN had provided the bank is with, and now the CBN say you can debit. If you take loan from, you see people who take loan, who take credit facility from First Bank and run to Guaranteed Trust Bank to continue their transactions there. So credit is a trust. Stop abusing the trust. Your credit is a huge, look at the huge, it's in capital letter and it's bold. Your credit is a huge part of your financial power. And so you must know how to properly grow your credit score and leverage on it. Every time you abuse that trust called credit, you miss an opportunity that has not come. Get that very well, and you can put it in the chat box for me. Every time you abuse the credit trust, You miss an opportunity that has not come. What am I saying here? What we are saying is that anytime you abuse a trust by not honoring your promise, even opportunities that have not come, you have already missed them. Because there's an opportunity for you next year to fund a project where you will have gotten like 500% profit, but you have abused a trust last year. So when you come to next year, the opportunity is waiting for you there, but there is no trust for you to present before a bank to say, please, or a friend to say, please, I need this money to fund this project. Every time you abuse a credit, you have missed an opportunity that has not existed. Yes, that has not come. You have missed an opportunity that has not even existed. So you are killing the future by, abusing trust. Now, you need credit. You need credit, not borrowing. Every time you go to anyone to take money or resource without a trust, without a promise, when your brother gives you money so that you will stop, you will not be telling people about, saying negative things about him, you are borrowing, you are not on credit. Please, who is there with, please mute your mic. You need a great credit status to do pretty much in life. You need a great credit status to do pretty much in life. You cannot do much in life if you don't have a good credit status. You can't achieve much in life if you don't have a good credit status. So you need a good credit status if you want to do so much and you want to achieve massively in life. You need a good credit status. What are we saying again? Even sometimes people need a good credit status to get a job. It is something everyone should have. So I want to encourage you, if you are, for everyone that is on this call and those that will also watch it later offline, it is something you need to have. Credits, good credit status is something that you need to have. How to improve your credit status as we begin to round up. How to improve your credit status. Number one, clean up your report. Whatever credit report you have now, you can get it better. If your promise no more is no more valuable to anybody, you need to clean it up. Have a good utilization. Anytime you want to utilize your credit status or credit privilege, make sure that you are going to utilize it well. For example, you borrow money to go and to do an investment, or you put it up for, you use it to get married. Then that's not a good utilization of your credit because you are going to lose it. Create a strategy from now, and this is where mentoring comes in. Create a strategy that will help you to improve your credit over time. Create a status. I met someone very, very recently, and I mean, we are not met for 2 weeks. However, I needed a credit, and he did not ask me question, did he give me collateral, nor did he even want to, today as we speak, does not even know where I live, and gave me some money that is in millions. So create a strategy that will help you, whichever level you are. If you need to clean up a very bad report, begin to clean it. Make sure that for every credit opportunity that you have, you utilize it appropriately. Then continue to create a strategy so that you keep improving it. In fact, the reason you want to take another credit for, especially when you are doing it, the reason you want to take the next credit as part of a strategy is because you want to surprise the person. So if you want to clean up your report and create a strategy, you can begin the same bank you approach and they didn't give you, they gave you a loan which you failed to pay on time. Approach the same bank now, take a loan of 6 months, utilize it within 3 months, repay back. Now that's a strategy to continue to improve your credit over time. Number 3 is the most important tip. And that's why you need to get a financial mentor who can walk you through this process and help you to improve your credit. We are beginning to round up. So if you have any question, please begin to drop it in the chat box now. We are almost rounding up. I want to tell you a story of a lady, I had an organization where, as part of our humanitarian services, we look for people who are on the extremely low ebb of life, and when they have a good proposal that could be funded, we fund it, and we tell them to pay back without interest. We ask them to pay back just the capital without interest. We gave one, and after like 6 months, I asked for the repayment status from the secretary that keeps the financial secretary. And when I got it, instead of seeing about 6 months repayment, I only saw 2. So I summoned this person that took this money, and I asked, why, what happened, blah, 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 blah. She started telling me story, my child did not have clothes, this and this. And then I began to let her understand that she's destroying something. Now, after that experience, another person, we found another person who had a good proposal, and we funded it. So we had to re-roll over the facility of the first person. And then about the same month, another person came, we saw the proposal, we amended it as it could be and give our expert advice. And then from there, we decided to give the loan. This other person took the loan, and I didn't do a review. It is the work of the financial secretary to do all of that. But at interval, I asked for those 5. So I asked for the 5, and I discovered that the loan, the repayment was supposed to be in 12 months. She had paid up in 10 months or less. So I sent for her. I asked her, how did you do this? I said, no, because when we are doing appraisal like that, I will ask them to come with their accounts. How much do you have? How much stock do you have? How much cash do you have? Then how much have you repaid? When I asked for a start of account, she came. She brought how much she had in the bank. She told me how much inventory she has in the shop, and she told me something that still scared me till tomorrow. She said, "Thank you. You know, she's not well schooled. So thank you, sir. You don't help me for this life. I don't know where I go. Thank you, wait. You know." And she began to tell me a story. And let me shock you. Within that 1 year, she had bought a house in her neighborhood. Yes, it's not in the city center, but she had bought a house that was worth about 450,000 naira from 120,000 naira that we gave her. She had repaid all the loan. She had tenants in the house that were, and she told me that there's 1 or 2 repairs that she needed to do. And I told her, I said, so now that you have repaid, won't you borrow again? She said, no, I don't want to borrow again. I said, you must borrow. You see, when a bank is begging you to borrow, you know that you have achieved a good credit status. And I told her, I said, you must borrow. She said, sir, I don't want the old money. As God don't help me, I go wait. Somebody will go won't pay my the house rent. When he pay, I go. I said, no, you need to expand your business. I know you are doing very well, but you need to expand your business. And I gave her 1 or 2 ideas, and I gave her additional loans. Now, when you begin to look at this is a stark, I would say, I'm just trying to use good words, stark illiterate. But how many of us very literate, schools, universities, some of us masters, and yet we are treating our trust with levity? How do you improve your credit? Just on a few days, I've told you what you really need is you need a mentor that will walk you through the process of improving your credit. But just on the surface, you need integrity. You need to have integrity. I said, when you look at the balance sheet of big companies, some of us, you will see that when you see capital on that side, is it asset or liability? Now, I'm not an accountant, but I can interpret the financials. So you will see some companies, you will see capital. Immediately under capital, you will see goodwill. And so When I began to study goodwill, I discovered that sometimes people have goodwill that is worthier than the capital that some people bring on board. So somebody is bringing 2 billion naira to start a company, another one say, I don't have 1 naira, but I have goodwill. If I step into a bank today and I say I need 1 billion, they will give me 10. That's goodwill. For you to improve your credit rating, you need to be disciplined. You need to be disciplined. You need to value your words. Then you must be prudent. Prudence is one thing that will help you to improve your credit rating. So ladies and gentlemen, finally, clean up your credit status or your credit rating today if you want to be wealthy in life. If you want to be wealthy, let me tell you, every time an opportunity is presented to you, the maximum to which you can dive into that opportunity is to the maximum capital that is in your hand. And one of the things that the wealthy have used so beautifully and well to continue to grow their wealth is credit and credit and credit. So you must clean up your credit status, clean up your credit rating if you want to achieve something massive in life. If you want to enter into the status of the wealthy, you must have a good credit rating. I was teaching in an investment forum some weeks ago, and I said I invested this much in an investment, and I said to them, I said 95% of the money was actually credit. And when I got home, I really said, my natural self, I said, I hope I have not lied. I put a calculator to it and I discovered that it was actually 97% of the capital I put into that investment was on credit. As part of the capital, I sat one day and I just got a message from my bank, and they said that I can get a loan without even coming to the bank. There and then I typed it. Within 30 minutes, I'm not exaggerating, within 30 minutes, I got a bank alert into my bank. Why? Because I had a credit rating that will make a bank, without seeing my face, to say, take money, we know you will pay back. This is going to be, as we begin to round up, a reminder to us that you cannot enter into massive wealth if you don't have a good credit rating. You cannot enter into massive wealth. And so I want to place before your nose and your eyes now the definition of credit. I want to take it home. Credit is a trust which allows one party to provide money. It's not borrowing money, provide money or resources to another party so that the second does not reimburse the money immediately, but promises to repay or return those resources at a later date. Ladies and gentlemen, this is where we begin to round up for today. For the leaders on the group, my mentees, my practical mentees, you can drop the link. Having listened to this, we are on a journey, and don't forget, this is financial mentoring with Pastor Yemi. And what are we doing here? We are raising a community of the wealthy, helping them building wealth from scratch by understanding the mindset of the wealthy and finding what works for every member of the community. What works for you will not work for the next person. So my job as a mentor is to find what works for you and identifying and developing proven processes, identifying platforms that the wealthy take advantage of to grow into wealth. And I said our vision is to be a community of wealthy people with a wealthy mindset and generating massive wealth. Last week, Wednesday, we had a meeting of the practical mentorship group, and we went to an outlet. And, I know that outlet, that day we know that some people came into their outlet because we ate massively as we wanted. And, when it was time to pay the bill, something happened. And I discovered that I brought out my debit card and discovered that my debit card was already expired. So my mind went boom. Wow, how am I going to pay? And I looked around and asked them, please, does anybody have such amount in his account? And one of them brought out his debit card. So we are building a community that wherever we enter, people know that if you enter an eatery, they know you have eaten. If you enter a shop, they know that somebody entered that shop. So our vision is to be a community of wealthy people with a wealthy mindset. Please, who is dropping the link for me on the platform? With a wealthy mindset and generating massive wealth. And our mission is to use the instrumentality of redefinitions. If you look at today, we have defined almost 3 things. To use the instrumentality of redefinitions to reposition every member of this community into the class of the wealthy. Our values are discipline, learning, modesty, integrity, and commitment. So if you want to join this practical mentorship of mine, if you want me to practically mentor you, we have set a target that of mid-term 24 months to move everyone in that community to the status of the wealthy. And like I said, some people will achieve it in 6 months, some will achieve it in 1 year, some will achieve it in 15 months. But in 24 months, anyone in that community will beat his chest and say, I cannot be poor again under God. With the help of God, I cannot be poor again. We're not talking about what we'll be saying with man, we are talking about what that will be proven. So, and we said on the long term, we have 5 years where you can do anything you want to do. You can match anybody around you. You can match anybody in Nigeria when you are talking about wealth. And I bet you, please don't join this community if you don't have a heart of commitment. If you know that, because it is free, I don't charge for mentoring you, but my instructions must be complied with 100%. One of the things that you will miss by joining this is that you are going to lose control over your finances. I'm going to take over the running of your finances and dictate what happens to what part of your finance. So if you are not ready to do it, don't click on this link. If you think this is something you want in 24 months to enter into that class that the wealthy operate, you can click the 2 links that is there. Please click the 2 and join the practical mentorship class. And I know that in the next 12 months, we are going to begin to see those that are practically being mentored. But if you don't think yet you want to have that level of losing control over your finances, please don't miss every Saturday, 2 p.m. We'll be looking at another amazing topic next week, Saturday. So this program is Financial Mentoring with Pastor Yemi. I run another program on Sundays by 2 p.m. On Sundays by 2 p.m. Now on Sunday, every Saturday, I'm just going to tell you how the wealthy do, how they act, what they do. On Sunday, I will show you platforms, specific products that the wealthy use to attain the status of wealth. So join me tomorrow. It's another program showing you platform products that the wealthy take advantage of to enter into their wealth. Tomorrow by 2 p.m. Also the same time, 2 p.m. tomorrow. Thank you. If you don't have any other questions, then we'll begin to round up for today. If you don't have any further questions, we'll begin to round up. Thank you for being here. I'll see you again tomorrow by 2 p.m. If you have enjoyed massively of the knowledge that you have learned in this program, please just type for me 777 in the chat box. That's how we celebrate ourselves. That's how we celebrate when we have received massive knowledge. Give me 777 on the chat box, and see you tomorrow by 2 p.m. Don't miss it for anything. See you tomorrow. Bye.